Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm so excited that you're here joining us today. I think that this is going to be the most important live that I do this year. I'm just going to put that out there. Today, we're going over a powerful topic that's near and dear to my heart, and it's really the foundation of my skincare philosophy, and that is regenerative skincare. In a world where Botox and fillers and facelifts are the go-to for younger looking skin, I want to take a moment to just reflect on that and challenge that narrative. Because while those procedures do smooth wrinkles and lift the skin temporarily, they actually do not help the skin to function better, to behave better, to act younger. So, true regenerative skincare, in my philosophy, my belief, it's about helping your skin to heal, to strengthen, to behave younger, and to be healthier from the inside out. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So, joining me is someone I deeply admire. This is Traci Benstine. She's the aesthetic trainer for Is Clinical. And I just can't wait for you to hear her insights on regenerative skincare and the science behind transformation and what drives Is Clinical. Because you guys know I'm very particular about what brands I choose to offer at Art of Skincare, and Is Clinical is right up there at the very top of my choices because of their formulations and their philosophy when they're creating skincare. So let's get into it. Welcome, Traci.
Hi, thank you so much for having me today.
Oh, you're very welcome. Traci, can you share with us what does regenerative skincare mean to you?
I know I love that question. Regenerative skincare to me and to our company, and you touched on this. It's all about helping the skin function as it's meant to function. And so what I mean by that is kind of tackling those underlying causes of skin disease and disorders and really helping to strengthen the skin. And so it functions as healthy, youthful skin should function. Our formulations are pretty, I like to say magical, and I don't mean to say magical, but they are because of the way they
Scientifically
work in
magical.
skin.
Yeah,
It is. They are. The formulations are so incredibly powerful yet protective. And again, it's giving the skin, it could be nutrients, it could be reducing inflammation. It's everything that the skin needs to do to heal and to function and to protect as it's meant to work. Yes.
that's amazing. I think the first thing that drew me to Is Clinical as I started investigating the line were something that I had no idea what they were, and it was an extremozyme. And when I heard about extremozymes, the way it was explained to me is that they are like bubble wrap. It's like you're bubble wrapping your DNA and protecting it. And I like that idea. But tell us some more. Tell us more. What are extremozymes and what makes them so vital in our skincare routine, especially as we're
Absolutely.
moving into summertime?
Absolutely. That is a wonderful question, too. So, our extreme enzymes, these are not new to the world of science. And what they are is they're enzymes that are derived from extremophiles. And now these are organisms and plants, such as like from fungi. I love fungi. We utilize several different types, as a matter of fact, marine bacteria, plankton extracts that have learned to live and thrive in extreme conditions, such as harsh cold, hot temperatures, high salinity, high acidity, extreme pressure, high altitudes, just to name a few. And they've been able to live for thousands of years. Now, sometimes they appear dead, they hibernate, and then they awaken and they thrive. Now, example would be like plants that are found in like the deep ocean, frozen tundras, hot pockets of Yellowstone, dry deserts, even the Dead Sea, the Salt Sea, and also again very high altitude alpine environments. And how does this happen? What they've been able to do to withstand these abnormal conditions is they're adaptable. And these miracles of adaptation can be used to protect human skin that are damaged from environmental extremes. Now, is clinical, we've borrowed this technology, we've included it in our formulations. And sometimes they'll have like a primary function, which is to protect the DNA, but then there's other functions as well, like secondary and tertiary benefits. And so again, the way this technology works is much how the technology protects these extremophilic plants and their DNA. And so they're very protective of our DNA structure and functions, and help to repair and prevent damage from free radicals that can lead to mutations such as skin cancer. So again, back to what
Wow.
you just said, think of them as bubble wrap to protect and shield our DNA. We know we have a daily onslaught of toxins from environmental stressors, and so we need to utilize these to kind of protect our natural defenses.
Yes. When we talk about the assault from the environment on our skin, what comes to my mind is the degradation of collagen. I love to be out in the sun. I love being outdoors,
Yes.
but I know what that can do to my collagen. It decreases the collagen, it damages the collagen. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Absolutely. We know that sun, as much as it helps us feel so good, that's probably one of the biggest aggressors to our own mechanism of defense. We know it stimulates inflammation that can lead to pigmentation. We know that it stimulates excessive amounts of matrix metalloproteinases that prematurely break down our collagen and our elastin. And then on top of that, as we age, our body we just lose that ability of being able to function on its own. And this comes down to some very important things that we've looked at within our clinical studies, is when to be able to turn on certain functions within the skin at creating more collagen, more elastin, and not only creating more, when to turn it off, and then
Okay.
also to make sure that it's healthy collagen content, that it's not disorganized. Yes.
Awesome. Yes, disorganized collagen. It just makes me think of rough
Yes.
texture and crepey skin.
Yeah, we lose that
Yeah.
architecture, right, to support, be
Yeah.
able to support our skin. And then we see again, that loss of elasticity, that internal architecture, right? Absolutely. And then we see those deeper right types.
Yes. So, as estheticians
Mhm.
in the industry for 20 years, I think the number one thing that's been pounded into us, well, the number one thing is sunscreen, but we're not going to talk sunscreen particularly today. The other thing that's pounded into our heads is vitamin C serum. So
Yeah.
we're really taught that we need antioxidants. We've got to protect that collagen. We've got to stimulate fresh, healthy collagen. We need to brighten that hyperpigmentation that comes on from the sun. And our go-to is vitamin C. And I have to say, still agree with that. 20 years later, that's still a golden standard. But is clinical takes vitamin C to a whole different level when we look at the Gen XC serum. Can you talk to us about why do I want Gen XC over another vitamin C serum, perhaps?
Well, first of all, it comes down to the quality of the ingredients we utilize within our formulations. We only use the very highest quality of ingredients. They're what we consider pharmaceutical grade. And what that means is they are as efficacious as the types of ingredients that you're going to find in certain medicines. They come with a certificate of analysis, first of all, that proves the purity and the efficacy of these ingredients. They go through what's called a mass spectrometer that we're getting is truly the highest quality, without having extra fillers and binders and fertilizers, let's say, within our ingredients. So they perform at the highest level. And Gen XC serum right here, we're talking gene technology in a bottle. And it is a revolutionary formula, and it features a proprietary complex of our three different extreme enzymes, many antioxidants, including vitamin C, and also another one. It's another antioxidant called superoxide dismutase, and this is what we call a bioidentical antioxidant. So I want you to think about being able to put a cosmeceutical on the surface of the skin, and the skin being able to talk back to the DNA, upregulate these tired aging genes, and think of being very regenerative and very reparative, improving the fine lines and wrinkles, brightening the complexion. listen, back to your vitamin C. If we don't utilize vitamin C on the surface of our skin, we can't even produce collagen content. We have to have vitamin C, and that helps result in a more youthful, glowing appearance, brighter skin, more collagen content, and again, just fortifying those defenses that we need for our skin.
So we've got vitamin C in there. We've got a bioidentical antioxidant in there, superoxide dismutase. I love
Yes,
that stuff.
I love it.
And
Yeah.
then we have those extremozymes in there,
Mhm.
which are giving us that bubble
And
wrapping.
that bubble
But
wrap
then
around our
you,
DNA.
yes,
Yes.
but then you hit on something else and you hit on increasing or upregulating gene expression.
Yeah.
So let's explain what that is for people who are new to hearing that. Upregulating our genes. That sounds a lot about like regenerative skincare to me. So let's
It
hear
is.
about upregulate. But let's talk about that.
What the heck am I talking about?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
what the
So,
heck?
first of all, there's the study of epigenetics. Epigenetics meaning epi, above or over, genetics, the gene. And so there's things that we do through our life. First of all, let's look at this. So when we're born, okay, our genetic material, the blueprint of who we are, all the commands made from within our DNA, they come from the genes, right? And so we get
Mhm.
50% from our biological mother, 50% from our biological father. Now, however, as we age, all of this changes. This is when it comes into the study of epigenetics, right? It's how our behavior and our environment then supersedes the DNA we were born with. And this is where it's going to determine on how we age. Gen C serum, this is very, very important in the study of epigenetics, where again, as I said earlier, where we could put a cosmeceutical back onto the skin and the skin can talk back to the DNA so it sends out healthy messages to our skin and our cells. Our skin looks younger because it is behaving younger. So,
Okay.
regardless if you were somebody like me that made poor epigenetic choices where I used to skip school and lay in the sun like a ding dong,
Yeah.
there's something that we can help our clients with when it comes to turning these genes back on. And
Yeah.
so, in the clinical study, and I don't want to get ahead of myself, but again, this is clinically proven as well.
Mhm. That's really amazing. So we have all this stuff going on in this little bottle and in several products that is clinical creates. I want to all of the bottles that have this little triangular shield on them have the extremozymes in them and have that. But do they also have that upregulating or downregulating of genetic information?
Mhm.
Or
Yes,
okay,
yes. Yes,
okay.
absolutely. Anytime you see that double helix with those nitrogenous bases of our DNA, right?
See
That
if
is
we
going
can
to
get it up
signal
really
within
close.
that formulation that we have our extremozyme technology here and that we're going to be shielding and protecting our DNA. Again, it's
Okay.
all about making sure we're sending out the right messages. And with, again, our Gen XC serum, this was one of the very first of our gene activation studies. In fact, I think we talked about this the other day. The clinical, first of all, we have over 60 third-party independent clinical studies. This was one of the first ones we did on gene activation, and we worked with this laboratory. Again, we always work with, again, non-biased laboratories, and they were so impressed by what this product did for the skin. They called Dr. DeHaven, our clinical director, back, and they're like, listen, we got to talk to you. What is in this product? Because we've
Yeah.
never seen something work like this in the skin.
Yes. I think that really speaks to the science behind is clinical because here is this person testing the product, this lab testing it and going, oh my gosh, normally we only see two or three gene expressions happening with a serum. And here we are looking at this one from his clinical and we're through the roof. We've got
Yeah,
so much
absolutely.
great gene expression happening.
Absolutely.
So we can talk about, well, there's certain genes that we want to upregulate. We want to get better collagen. We want to get this healing stuff going on. But there's other things that can contribute, factors that contribute to aging that we want to downregulate. And I often talk about this with my clients is that one of the leading causes of premature aging on the skin is inflammation. So can you talk to us about our genes and inflammation and what epigenetics can mean for that?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, I'm sure everybody that is listening to us today, they've all heard the term of inflammaging.
Yes.
Inflammation is what leads to all diseases within the skin. And so, first of all, in the clinical study, we looked at 165 different genes and they were grouped into 10 families. And this is based on what they do within the skin. Everything was upregulated except the one that went down was inflammation. And that is
Mm.
exactly what we wanted to see. We know inflammation, it leads to textural abnormalities, it leads to redness and sensitivity, it leads to pigmentation, but it also leads to the breakdown, again, back to the matrix metalloproteinases, prematurely breaking down our collagen and our elastin. And eventually, what it leads to is also cell death. So we have to get inflammation under control. And also, I want to back up also even to healing. If
Mhm.
we don't get inflammation under control, we also can't heal the way that we should, and it breaks down our own immunity, our skin's own immunity. So inflammation is the major, I should say, kind of constituent that we have to get under control.
Absolutely. Yes. So last year, you guys, I think it's just been a year, maybe it's two now. Time, I don't regulate time very well. You came out with a new product, and I know it had been years in the making. When it hit the shelf and I put it on my skin, I was like, oh my God, this gets the Jeana Award for most innovative product, and in particular, most innovative retinol in the industry, hands down.
Mhm.
So, talk to us about the retinol emulsion and how did you even? I believe that his clinical even took those epigenetics a step further with
Yes.
this
Yep.
product.
Technology.
So,
Technology involved.
when I started using this product, my skin was firmer.
Mhm.
My pigmentation was fading. It was just lighter. My skin tone was more even and brighter, and my skin was more translucent and luminous. And and I didn't have any of those negative side effects that you can
Yeah.
get from retinols. So
Yes.
let's learn more about this retinol emulsion and why. Why is it so amazing?
So, first of all, yes, these are retinols, but I want you to always think about the plus factor.
Okay.
Now, and it's all the other beautiful ingredients that are within this formulation that make it so amazing for our clients. So now, again, as you mentioned, this took some years for our company to create a keratolytic retinol. Our company was asked for years, why do you not work with a keratolytic retinol? Because we do work with vitamin A, we work with retinols,
Mhm.
but in non-keratolytic versions.
Okay.
So, in true is clinical fashion, if we're going to create a product, it has to be number one, very unique with the latest and greatest in technology. It has to be very efficacious, and the skin has to be much healthier having used it, especially if we're going to stimulate something within the skin, like we know with using something like a very powerful keratolytic retinol. Now, as you mentioned again, what happens is a lot of times we don't help our clients understand mechanism of action, the softening of the protein, the dehydration of the cells, the erythema, the edema, the heat that radiates off the skin. And so what happens, the clients think they're sensitive, they're sensitized, they're allergic, and so they do not remain compliant to utilizing the vitamin A. And we need the vitamin A in the skin. We don't synthesize it ourselves. It's what we call a normalizing vitamin. And so we need this. And so this is where our retinol plus emulsions came out. The retinol plus emulsion, the 0.3% and the 1% are both more powerful than their actual concentration of retinol because they have numerous boosters. But again, we have the entire formulation, as you mentioned, that is very protective of the skin barrier,
Mhm.
controlling the excess inflammation.
Mhm.
Our message is, again, back to what I said just a moment ago, the skin has to be much healthier having used it. And what is the best retinol? It is the formulation that somebody is going to utilize. So think about the
Yes.
0.3%, right?
Hmm.
Think about that as for your first time users, people that have maybe been a little bit afraid to utilize a retinol again, a little more sensitive,
Hmm.
even patients battling rosacea. This is a
Yes.
very anti-inflammatory product. So we know keratolytic retinols, they upregulate certain genes that turn on inflammation. This formulation has been proven in clinical study to put this in balance. And so we can very easily say that the 0.3% is very anti-inflammatory, as well as the 1%. 1% is strong keratolytic, but it's still very anti-inflammatory. We're not going to have all that erythema, the edema, and the heat that radiates off the skin. So again, very powerful treatments.
Amazing. And when you think about combining vitamin A with epigenetics, wow, it just opens up a whole new understanding of regenerative skincare.
Absolutely. And as you mentioned, the science has evolved. Technology has gotten further when it comes to testing the products, where we were only able to look at 165 different genes with our Gen XC serum. Now the entire human genome has been able to be sequenced. So between 20,000 and 25,000 different genes. And with our 0.3%, we looked at over 3,200 different genes, and again, grouped into different families. And again, we were so amazed on everything that was upregulated in the right direction. So wound healing, so skin repair, antioxidant activity, dermal epidermal junction maintenance and integrity, cell to cell adhesion, but then downregulated back to anti-inflammatory benefits. And also, it's making sure that we have that healthy barrier development as well. And that proved in both the 0.3% and the 1%. Again, beautiful gene activation, but the essential ones were downregulated. And we give that credit to the entire formulation.
Yes. Amazing formulation. Prior to this formula,
Yeah.
I was using a retinol that had some acids mixed in with it. It was beautiful. We liked the results we were getting, but we had to layer a calming type serum underneath it. And then we would put on that retinol serum. And now let's talk about the usage of this serum. So I'm not having to apply the calming serum underneath this because it is already formulated and so synergistically with the anti-inflammatory ingredients. And yeah, can talk to us a little bit about that. Do we need to be layering anything under it, or will that affect its efficacy? Should we put anything on top of it? What are your thoughts
Great
on that?
question. Great question. First of all, with the 0.3%, I think this is going to be so easily tolerated by most of your clients that for me, I'm a rosacea client. I have 3 subtypes of rosacea. And I find this is more than enough when I go to bed at night. I don't layer. This is my main treat product. If
Okay.
for some reason I'm traveling, I feel like a little bit of dehydration, I can
Hmm.
utilize a little not hydrocool. No, that's what I meant to say. Our
Yeah.
hydrocool serum, excuse me, or I can use our reparative moisture emulsion, but I don't feel the need to.
Very
Now, with that being
often.
said, with
Yeah.
the 1%, because it is highly keratolytic, this
Hmm.
is for, deeper rhytides, thicker skin, larger
More sun
pores, deeper
damage.
pigmentation. Because of that strong keratolytic effect, to just kind of help our clients with that strong effect,
Hmm.
then I will recommend something like our reparative moisture emulsion. And always still
Okay.
start slow. I don't want to scare our
Okay.
clients off. And
No.
they won't be scared off, but let's say they've had issues in the past, start
Hmm.
slow. Go every other night, add another night as your
Okay.
clients can tolerate it. But again,
Okay.
I really only feel the 1% is the one where maybe we have to add additional hydration, but nothing
Okay.
underneath it. We don't want to impede the penetration here. Yeah.
Right. So if you were to use hydrocool with either one of these serums, would you put that on underneath the serum, or are you going to put that on top of the serum, the
I
retinol?
would put it on top. Or
Hmm.
you now hydrocool, we don't mix our products, okay?
Right.
Rule of thumb, always thoroughly massage everything into the skin. Once it's fully absorbed, then you can finish with the next product. With
Okay.
that being said, hydrocool, that's kind of the caveat. It breaks all the
Okay.
rules. And
All
so
right.
you could do maybe a couple pumps of the hydrocool, mix it with the retinol plus emulsion. You can do it
Oh,
that way. You can
okay.
apply it on top. Or
Okay.
with the 1%, I would probably just use the reparative moisture emulsion on top.
Okay.
Or let's say you lived in Denver, Colorado, where there's no hydration in the air.
Yeah.
Maybe even you could use in the winter months, even our Shield Recovery Balm on top,
Okay.
just to kind of get through that hump of that strong keratolytic
Yes.
effect. Yeah.
All right. All right, Tracy. tell us your secrets. What are your favorite products? What's on your bathroom counter? What are you using? What do you use in the
My bad.
morning? We know what you use at night now. So
Yeah,
what is your daytime routine?
my daytime routine. I go between, depending on the time of year, I go between my Pro Heal Serum Advance Plus or my Gen XC serum. I'm all about fighting aging. So I will go
Okay.
between both of those. And because I have those three subtypes of rosacea, I'll go
Yes.
back and forth between those two serums.
Okay.
Now, in the summer, or I should say the latter part of the summer, that's when I'll start bringing in a brightening complex instead
Okay.
in the daytime. So after I
Yes.
cleanse my skin, I'll use my brightening complex. But I'm always using my retinol plus emulsion at nighttime. The only time that
Okay.
maybe I deviate from that is when I'm using active peel system. So I'll
Okay.
use my retinol plus emulsion. And then on the nights that I use my active peel system, that has become one of our best selling products as well. I'll
Yeah.
use that. And then I'll get back to my retinol plus emulsion. Yeah.
You're going to think we're really naughty, but we do these peel-a-thons here at Art of Skincare. We've had three,
Mm-hmm.
and we are known with the active peel system. After about the fifth peel, we start layering the retinol emulsion on top of it.
I love it. We
And it's
listen,
so
we
great.
tell you guys, get creative. We never
Yeah.
want to over exfoliate the skin, but I
Yeah.
love the fact that you guys are getting
Yeah.
creative. I think that's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah. It's an amazing combination. We just love
Mhm.
that. So you're using there was something you said in there. Um Oh, in the summertime going, oh, brightening complex. Thank you.
Yes.
My mom uses brightening complex as her moisturizer. She has vitiligo, and it's been the best thing for evening out her pigmentation because, of course, she's got pigment loss in some areas and then hyperpigmentation in other areas. And so that has been the number one serum that has just evened her skin tone out so beautifully. I love that
Mhm.
product.
It
Yeah.
is phenomenal. And again, it deals with what we call the process of melanogenesis, which it doesn't matter if it's PIH, if it's melasma, if it's dyschromia, pigmentation is always stimulated the same way. And it's through that process of melanogenesis. And that number one issue we need to tackle after the initial trigger, most prolific being the sun, is inflammation. And so
Yes.
it works on all of those processes. And it also contains our extremozyme technology. And that's one, just to let you know, I can share that one. It's not proprietary. It's called Imperata cylindrica root extract.
Okay.
And it's almost like a noxious weed. This is such a hardy weed. And it's what we call it's osmoprotective. And so it's known to draw in large amounts of hydration. And so again, it's not only working on pigmentation, but it protects skin barrier function too. So that is a very important
I
product
love
within
it.
our portfolio. Yeah.
So an anti-inflammatory, takes care of pigmentation, just gets to the root of everything.
Mhm.
And it's lightly moisturizing. So
It
many
is.
people use that during the summertime when they are needing a lighter moisturizer. That becomes their moisturizer, and then they're just putting their sunscreen on
Yep.
top of that.
Exactly. That's
I love
exactly
it.
the way I use it. Uh-huh.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, let's see. I think we do have some questions over here. So let me dive into some
Beautiful.
questions.
Great.
Some glasses on. Luann says, can you use vitamin C in conjunction with retinols? You know, we hear this question a lot. So I'm so glad that you brought this up and that we have Traci here to answer it. Get another
I'm here.
opinion in on
I
this.
know that question.
Yes, we've heard it so many times. So let's go for it. Let's hear what you have to
Yes.
say.
Okay, so that's a wonderful question. First of all, normally in a lot of times in formulations, vitamin C and retinol can have competing pH requirements, and they could reduce the efficacy of each other. In our formulation with our retinol plus emulsions, and also within our other formulations, we'll use second generations of vitamin C. And so, listen, again, it comes back to technology evolving. And so, a lot of times, our vitamin C's are very powerful. They can be lipid soluble, water soluble. In this case, with our retinol plus emulsions, we utilize a vitamin C that is complex with colloidal gold. And so, again, a very special form of vitamin C. And instead of working against, the vitamin A and the vitamin C, it actually, this vitamin C becomes a booster, and we get more collagen synthesis, more brightening, more wound healing
Amazing.
by the type of vitamin C we use in this formulation.
Yes. So, yeah, to answer your question, Luann, sometimes you do have to separate those two and not use them
Mhm.
together. But with the next generation vitamin C's that we're using with Is Clinical, it's not a problem.
Exactly.
Yeah, Parvin. Oh, Parvin says she's just joining in. Welcome, Parvin. So good
Thank
to
you.
see your name there. Joseph says, extremozymes versus exosomes. Why doesn't Is Clinical use exosomes?
Wonderful question again. Technically, we do. We Many companies actually technically do. We just don't advertise it up until just recently.
Yeah.
And it's all about cell communication and reducing inflammation. And so technically we do, but we're talking about two different things. An exosome is very different from an extremozyme.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, I mean, everything we do, we work with technically numerous different kinds, all being plant-based or bioidentical. And so
Mhm.
that means they're very hardy, they don't degrade. And again, like I say, I think there's many companies that do use them, they just don't know that they are. And so, but ours would be a botanical source and bioidentical.
Yes, and it's a lot of times the technology will be being used for a while, and then all of a sudden a certain term for it will
Yeah.
become used. I mean, here's an example. We, as estheticians, we've been rotating our nighttime corrective things, on and off our retinols and stuff like that for decades. But now it's called skin cycling. And so it's often that way with ingredients too. And so what we're when we're talking about the exosomes, um, we're looking at gene expression, so upregulating gene expression. And with all the studies that Is Clinical has done, we're seeing a tremendous amount of healthy um, gene expression happening, upregulating of genes and downregulating of other genes. And that's the same reason we might use the exosomes that are implated or something like that.
Yeah.
It's that same technology doing that same great stuff in our
Mhm.
cells.
Yeah, and we've been doing this a long time. Is Clinical, the formulations, Brian Johns, our founder and our chief formulist, excuse me. He's God, the man is so forward thinking, and he's been
Mhm.
working in the anti-aging field for decades. And anyhow, it's amazing when you look at really truly how we've broken down a lot of boundaries with our formulations, and we've really been leading the
Mhm.
charge for many, many
You
years on
have.
these types of things. Yeah.
Everyone else is trying to catch up.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah,
we've got new things on the horizon. It's always very important and it's
it
amazing.
is.
I'm so blessed to be part of it all. Yeah.
You are. It is. I'm so glad to be on for the ride as well.
Thank
It's
you. Yeah.
fabulous. Okay, we have a few more minutes. No more questions at the moment. What have we missed, Traci? What is just, are you itching to share?
Oh, you know what? Can we go back to reparative moisture emulsion for a
Oh,
moment
yeah,
too? You
let's do
talked about
that.
how much you love that.
Yeah.
That hydrator, moisturizer. I mean, if you look at our HydroCool serum and you take it now a step up where we're protecting barrier function, but also providing that extremozyme technology, it's very
Mhm.
anti-aging. This is an amazing formulation. And even for your clients that are battling acne, we
Yeah.
sometimes know that they will kind of over dry, over irritate the skin when we're trying to heal the
Yeah.
acne lesions. Don't forget, everybody needs to have both moisture and hydration in the skin. That is your reparative moisture emulsion, truly one of our multitasking products. And back to that, we talked about superoxide dismutase.
Yeah.
That is such an important antioxidant, again, bioidentical, along with the vitamin C. Everything that we have within that formulation is so healthy for the skin and very protective as well. So I just wanted to kind of touch on that.
I
Use
think
this with your
yeah,
1% retinol. Yeah, it's great for everybody.
it's it's not just a moisturizer emulsion. It's such a multifunctional product. And I think that more and more we're just demanding that of the products
Yeah.
that we use. Yeah, I can put a moisturizer on that will help prevent transepidermal water loss, and that's important. But when you start looking at the technology that goes into making this and everything that it's doing in the skin, I mean, if you were a minimalist and you're only going to use one thing at all, you
That
could,
would
and it's
be
going
in
to be
my
a
nighttime and
moisturizer.
daytime. Yep.
Yeah, if you just want a moisturizer, and I have clients like just want a moisturizer, that's it. This is that
Yeah,
moisturizer to go for because of everything that's going on in the
absolutely.
formulation.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, this has been so much fun. I feel like there's so much more. We could spend an hour
I know, trust me,
talking
I got
about
to rein it
every
in.
formulation. I know, I know. But I really appreciate you being here today with us,
Oh,
Tracy.
I'm
I
so
think
happy to
it's
be
so
here.
important to just keep this message in front of everyone that their skincare has evolved. Just like vitamin
Yeah.
C's have evolved, skincare has evolved to a point where we really can have a regenerative effect on the skin. We really can have skin that acts younger, produces collagen like it's younger, and it's available. It's here at our fingertips if we just use it. And I think that's really exciting news. Um, we don't have to we can resort to those things if we want to. They can be fun, the injections and fillers and all of that stuff. But if we want true regenerative, we truly want our skin to behave younger, look younger, feel younger, then we're on the right road when we look at Is Clinical and the products we've talked about today. Yeah. So thank you so much for being with us, Tracy. It's been a
Thank you.
pleasure having you. You've truly
Oh,
educated us and
thank you.
inspired me. And I'm getting my sun care, my summer sunskin care, summer sunskin. That's pretty good.
Yep.
Sunskin.
Yep. We actually have another webinar coming up on that too. So absolutely.
Okay.
Summer safe treatments. Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And not to mention that do have to mention actually, because we're in summer. We've got to talk about it. Is Clinical has a sunscreen that has these extreme enzymes in there. So this is a great sunscreen for topping everything and getting that extra layers of protection in. But again, talking about that person who wants just one product, with His Clinical, we have a moisturizer and sunscreen all in one with those extreme enzymes. Tell us a little bit about that before I let you go.
Well, it's
We
got
had
to
to
be
eat
extreme
encore.
protect. Yeah, it's got to be
Extreme
extreme
protect.
protect SPF 30, right?
Yes,
And
yes.
so, yes, it is so very important. It not only, listen,
Grab
think of
one.
it as truly the for minimalists, it treats, it hydrates, and it protects. It feels lovely on the skin. And the clinical studies on protecting from what we call thymine dimer formation are very impressive with this sun protection. Just to let you know, real quickly, that is damage to our DNA that we know is induced from sun exposure, and it leads to mismatched pairings of nitrogenous bases within DNA. We don't want that to happen. This product is clinically proven to protect with this, but it also is packed with antioxidants for additional protection. So not only the extreme enzymes, but it's all about reducing inflammation, protecting from, again, the other, let's say, even pollution. We have a pollution study on this particular sun protection as well. And so it's very hydrating. It's going to lock in moisture along with vitamin E. Again, more protection from damage from the sun, the UV exposure. And then it's a broad spectrum sun protection. So UVA, UVB protection, and also HEV. So blue light, we call it, high energy
Yes.
visible light. And that damages, penetrates and damages all layers of the skin. So we need that extra layer in there as well. So
Yeah.
broad spectrum sun protection, HEV blue light, extreme enzymes, additional antioxidants. There you go, our extreme protect
Yeah,
SPF 30.
this is what I'm grabbing. And it comes in different tints. So I happen
Yeah.
to pull up the bronze over here. You can see that it gives, see if we can actually, yeah, I can see pretty well. It gave the skin a nice bronzy glow, which can be nice if you have a little deeper skin tone and you're using a mineral sunscreen. It's going to have that nice warmth to it. But it also comes in a beige, which is my normal skin tone, and then it comes in a non-tinted for those people that don't want any tint, especially the men in our lives. They don't want a tint. Although I do find that I use the untinted when I'm playing tennis because I'm
Mhm.
sweating and I don't want to get the tint on my tennis whites. But yeah, so we had to finish off as estheticians, we had to finish with sunscreen. And why
Yep.
not potentially the best sunscreen available
You're
as
right.
far as
So, and
protecting
just
your
real
DNA?
quick, we have Extreme Protect SPF 30, Extreme Protect SPF 40, very powerful, both of them.
Yeah,
One is a little more moisturizing than the other, so we have
yeah,
something for all of our clients. Yeah.
yeah. It's great. I find them both to be pretty moisturizing. They're great. All right. I'm trying not to say goodbye, but I need to say goodbye. I appreciate having you with us, Traci. Thank you
Oh,
so
thank
much for
you.
taking time out of your
Thank
busy
you.
week to be here with us. We have a special event going on here
Oh,
at Artist Skincare, and this is our annual Is Clinical event. So right now you can get 20% off these wonderful products that we've talked about, and we have a free gift with purchase. So head over to Artist Skincare and check it out. If you have any questions or need any help finding the right vitamin C for you, because there's a few choices with this clinical, just reach out to the estheticians on my live chat. They are there for you. They will help you to find just the right products for your skin because everyone's skin is unique and there's no one size fits all. All right, Traci, have a wonderful day. And thank you,
thank you.
everyone, for
You too.
joining us.
Thank you, everybody.
We'll see you all again soon.